Okay, hello everybody. I'm back again. This is Sharonda, and this is my YouTube channel as well as podcast, Spiritual Sense. Today is August the 10th, which is a Wednesday. So in this podcast, I go over topics in regards of the paranormal, occult, supernatural. I'd like to state that this podcast is for entertainment purposes. That means you come here because you have an interest in those topics. And so I'm going to briefly go into what the topic is for today. Now, I did do a recording, I want to say on last year and possibly the year prior to about reincarnation and what I felt reincarnation was. And you may coin the term differently, but ultimately that's what it is. Okay. So give me just a moment. I'm going to pull up some information that I have here that states the definition. So, what is reincarnation? Well, as defined, it's the rebirth of a soul in a new body. So that's basically what reincarnation is. It's a rebirth of a spiritual renewing. The belief that on the death of the body, the soul transmigrates to or is born again in another body. So, and I do believe that, and I'm going to go on a website in regards to reincarnation. So give me just a moment. I was pulling up Wikipedia, but I think I'm going to go on another website and where it gives some account on reincarnation. So according to this website, it says that it is the concept that the eternal soul or spirit begins a new life after the body dies. So this physiological and religious idea is central to both Buddhism and Hinduism. Some people who do not have a religious practice also believe in reincarnation. So it says that it's a complete higher realization of self, truth, and enlightenment through the spiritual practices by way of yoga, meditation, and worship. Um, it liberates the individual from cycles of reincarnation. So this spiritual liberation is called moksha. Uh, so it says it's the belief of the idea of an eternal soul or the life force that continues into another life after biological death. Um, so I'm going to give you my account of what I feel like that is. Um, a lot of people may refer to this as a new birth or a spiritual renewing or a change in personality or whatever the case may be. I feel as though, as I mentioned before, um, reincarnation is basically energy recycling itself. So energy does not die. It's simply what? Repurpose itself or remanifest itself back into another form. Now, in terms of, I give you an example. Like, I think God uses us to give awareness to a situation, some clarity, insight, or whatever the case may be. Do I believe a spirit can remanifest itself back in terms of like an animal or a plant or something of the sort? Hey, I do believe that possibly that can happen. I do believe that. I believe energy is energy. And if God wants to give you insight about stuff, about something, if you're inquisitive about how life came to be and whatever the case may be, he would gravitate you to a certain thing, and then he would give you that understanding. Like you would get that understanding by way of how he gravitates you to that. That's what I believe. Some people may refer to that being ignorant or prejudice or whatever the case may be, but this is how we would know with the discovery of who was the first group of people that walked these lands. You know, the first group of people, the first race of people that walked this land. Now, as prejudiced as that may sound, this is God's way of giving us inclination about things. Some people may jump off and get mad, but I'm not that type of person to do that because I understand how God works. I honestly do, you know. So because I feel that way, you know, and I speak in accordance to that, you know, people may throw low blows about what my hair look like and weight. I don't care anything about that. This is God giving us inclination about stuff. Simple as that. And I think that's basically what it is. So if you get mad at the spirit because this is how God works. I ain't thought nothing else about that. This is what the inclination that he puts within me about how the beginning of man is. If you want to know, if you even care to want to know, he's going to put it in your spirit to where you will understand it. And like I admit, I love saying this term. It's the favorite term I like to use. The biggest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing the world he did not exist. So if you begin to bring inquisitive curiosity into a situation, well, then you better be prepared to swallow the pill of curiosity, because it's going to oftentimes it's going to hurt your feelings if you are sensitive, you know, or it may be offensive. Plain and simple. But reincarnation is energy that has been recycled back into a time and space. So, you know, they said the first man, you guys, some people said the first point in civilization was some 2,000 years ago. Well, there has been some discoveries that, you know, you got discover a man some 200,000 years ago or what have you. So who knows what the truth really is? But if you ask God for inclination, if you ask God to give you insight, he will. He will. And sometimes when you ask him and you are curious, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. Many people are, you know, they just go with what they want to know and then they move forward. And this is what we agreed upon. But if you want the honest truth, that's when it infiltrates a lot of different things in. And a lot of times people get mad because they don't want to hear the truth. We just want to hear the watered down piece. We don't want to hear anything contrary to what we have agreed upon. So if you start bringing in all this other stuff, we are not going to deal with all of that. And that's essentially what that is. Reincarnation is energy repurposing into another form is what that is. So as we would say, spiritual renewing, you know, I'm pretty sure you have heard of, you know, stories where people say, oh my gosh, it's just like my son, he reminds me so much of grandfather such and such, so and so. It's just the same thing. This is God by way of, just in case no one has told you so. Once a person has received spiritual renewing and reincarnation are similar, but there are some variances to it. Reincarnation is a transition, meaning the actual physical body has died and the energy repurposed back into another time and into another form. Spiritual renewing is someone that has been at the brinks of death, like someone who has had a life altering event, could very well be a traumatic event, and as a result they have received spiritual renewing, like they have begun to take on impressions empathetically of others. And this is a part of your intuition. This is the intuition coming into focus for you. Okay. So when you begin to formulate and get a relationship with God, you will understand what that is. So I am going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense. And I think I'm going to do this is just a brief synopsis of reincarnation, and I'm going to do a topic, spiritual renewing, at the close of this episode. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment below. Until then, you have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.